I'd like to call this Board of Zoning Appeals meeting to order. If we would, let's stand, say the Pledge of Allegiance, and have a moment of silence. Thank you. If you have a cell phone, I would request that you silence it or turn it off. The first order of business is the approval of the February 2024 minutes.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion of approval and a second. All those in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
The first case tonight, Mr. President, case P01V24 is going to be continued. My office is working with the folks at U-Haul to get their issues all resolved. We're not quite there yet, but we're close. So I suggested to them that we continue until next meeting, and hopefully in the next week or two, we'll have everything resolved. So if you're here for case P01V24, it will not be heard tonight. It will be heard next month, potentially. So the first case will be heard tonight is case P02V24, petition of Affordable Rate Market Rate LLC requesting a variance of 150 square feet to section 3.20 minimum floor area per unit in an M2 zone. This is the property north of 4600 Coulter Drive, next to the Walnut Creek Apartments and east of Brook Road.
Thank you. Do I have a motion and a second?
I move that we approve case number P02-V-24 and adopt the findings of the petitioner and those of this board, and make those findings part of the record, please.
Second.
Any of the members had any ex parte communications on this?
No, sir.
Is the petitioner here for?
Good evening.
Would you state your name and address?
Bill Drinkall, 3609 Delray Drive, Fort Wayne, Indiana. Read these, or where do we go? Okay. Oh, let's see. The approval will not be injurious to public health, safety, morals, general welfare of the community. Applicant is requesting a variance for the minimum floor area per unit established under 3.20 M2 development standards to allow for the development of a multifamily dwelling facility housing 324 units, having an average square foot of 650 square feet per unit. The development will not be injurious to public health, safety, morals, general welfare of the community. The proposed development will be constructed in a first-class manner, contain multiple indoor and outdoor amenities consistent with the density threshold established by the ordinance. Applicant anticipates the development including 162 one-bedroom units, being 551 square feet in size, 162 two-bedroom units, each being 751 square feet in size. These proposed unit sizes are designed to accommodate the needs of the potential rental market within the city of Kokomo and provide an efficient site design maximizing green and open spaces within the proposed development. The use and value of the adjacent area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. The use and value of the area adjacent to the property will not be affected in a substantial manner. Property is located in a predominantly residential area, and the permitted uses for an M2 district expressly contemplate medium to large scale multifamily residential developments, i.e. apartment complexes of medium to high density. The quality of the development proposed by applicant is consistent with general purposes served by the ordinance and will not adversely affect the use and value of the adjacent property. The The strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance will result in a practical difficulty which is not self-imposed or based on a perceived reduction or restriction of economic gain. As shown on the proposed site plan, a large portion of the property is anticipated to serve as stormwater detention, and such property is subject of multiple easements which limit the available development locations by strictly enforcing the minimum square footage requirements. The applicant would be required to increase the unit size and thereby increase the building coverage, which may result in additional variances being required and would require substantial reduction in the additional amenities anticipated. Further, given the current encumbrances, further modification of the proposed site plan would require relocating various easements, appurtenant utilities, facilities, which would be unduly burdensome on the applicant and may result in adverse impacts on surrounding properties. Taking into consideration all relevant factors, the property cannot reasonably be put to conforming use because of the limitation imposed by the ordinance with respect to the minimum square footage of each unit. So, I've been here a couple of times, and so you have seen some of this. I've changed the, let me see, I gotta remember how to operate this, the PowerPoint a little bit. So this is who we are, and this is what we're requesting is 150 square feet variance of the minimum floor area. Unit size remain within permitted density. I have looked around, and there are quite a few. This is just one that I've seen, that there are multiple complexes that are in this range of the 1 bedroom, 1 bath. First Flats was just purchased in January for $90,000 a unit. There's 80 units, 522 square foot, 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 2 bedroom, 1 bath is 720. So we're very close, a little above those unit sizes. They are older units. They're very, very old units. They're in the 70s and stuff. So ours are designed a little more modern. Actually, I went and visited these, and they're dated. They're older and stuff. So, but they're still charging quite a bit in rent. As I said, our proposed square footages are 551 to 751. Class A amenities, Class A finishes, be very nice. Each has a patio deck, so, you know, sliding doors you can open. One thing I did do, this is the property. There you go, that's the line on the property. Little rendering of the development, and there's the layout of it. Okay, so the entire site's 19.6 acres. Right-of-way dedication is 0.459. Lot number 1 is out front, R3 zoning, so we're not touching that, but it is in the purchase. Lot number 2 is 16.5 acres. That's the M2 multifamily, allows 24 units per acre. 324 units is what we're proposing. I know on the agenda it said 360. That was not updated from the first time because that just stays the same every time, but I want to make sure everybody knows we did downsize, and we are within the parking code now, where we were a little above it before, so we're within the parking ordinance. 800 square feet is what the code is right now. We're looking at 650. We do meet the parking requirements, so there's nothing there. We're 2.02. I know you each have paper copies, but this is the 2 bedroom, 2 bath, and you can kind of, probably on your copies, you might be able to read the square footages a little better on the length. I believe that's 14 or close to 15 feet across there, and 10, 11 square feet coming up. So you come in the door, it's a nice wide open space. The kitchen's open, and the bedrooms, I believe, are 10 by 11 or 10 something by 10 something. So pretty decent size. Each one comes with a washer and dryer, and very efficient heat pump units is what we're planning on using. So it'll be energy efficient. All the windows will be very energy efficient. The 1 bedroom, same basic layout. Living room may be a little bit bigger, But yeah, the bedroom's about the same, and bathroom, each has a washer dryer in it too. So every unit comes with that. We're also including internet in every apartment, high-speed internet. Okay, so everyone streams, that's what they want. So that's included in these. Floor plan, I laid one out here. Now, I didn't revise this one because we put showers instead of bathtubs. This one still got the bathtub, but you can see the furniture, how it fits in these. A couple of complexes in Fort Wayne. This is one. It's 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 500 square feet. So I've got some pictures here that kind of give you some visual on what a 500 square foot unit will look like. And I've got a couple of these. This one's a little longer. You kind of look, it's a 1 bedroom, so basically 1 person, 2 people could live in there, no problem. Nice kitchen, we'll have nice kitchens. This one's got a shower in there. We'll have a shower, bathroom, and a decent sized bathroom or bedroom. So this is an older complex, but still it's giving you an idea what they look like and the size and how it kind of fits. This one here is in Fort Wayne also, 504 square feet. Nice kitchen area. They actually have one of those little washer dryer combos in there. Nice living area. This one's a little wider than the last one, so it's not as long, but there's plenty of living space in this size range. And there were multiple. I just, I didn't want to put a bunch of them up here, but these, are nice. The bedrooms, like I said, large, not huge. They're not 14 by 20 or anything, but don't really need that. And this one's got a full tub layout and everything. Nice bathroom. I put this at the end. This is who we are, and I know I went over this the first time, and we've been over it a few more times, but it just gives you a little bit of what we're looking at doing and the finishes we'll be using. They will be high-end finishes, hard surface countertops. It'll have a amenity center that really, it'll be more of a community center. It'll have a lot of amenities in it. We're looking at golf simulators, pool, ping pong table, just workout facility, maybe movie room. This is all still being kind of, that part's being planned, but we'll have coffee bar. It'll be a very nice amenity center. It will be where people can actually, the units, they're on the smaller side, but they're not. I mean, you saw them, they can be finished out very nice, and we've designed them very nice. But this is a nice place for people to go and, just be with other people in the community. And then if they leave me alone, go back to their apartment and have their own space. And all this is being affordable with no government subsidy. So yeah, we're bringing needed housing to the community, nice affordable living options, serving the businesses in need of employees, helping the city grow. It will create revenue for the city through all the services and everything, and jobs that we provide actually, which, it's not a ton, but it does take a lot to run, and the landscape businesses, we employ people. So there is revenue and taxes and everything that will come with this. This little rundown on the shifts to smaller apartments. They benefit the community, the environment, everything. You're able to use higher quality materials. The environmental impacts are less. You're putting more on a little less land, and leaving some land available. Micro units, a little bit on the units and how they've become popular across the nation just because of the reduced rent. And they're nice. People, they don't need their 1,200 square foot 1 bedroom apartment. I mean, they'd rather save money. It's probably, we're in the ballpark of $50 million to build this thing, so it's not cheap. It will be nice, and so we're taking a leap here, but we have faith that this is gonna serve the community and be good. So That's about it. I know I went through it pretty quick, but I know this is like the third time and we've seen it a couple times. So I want to open up for questions and we will have some people step up too.
Any of the board members have any questions for the petitioner? Mr. Sheehan?
Yeah, staff findings for case PO2 V24. Approval will not be injurious to public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. The approval of the requested variance for interior floor area will not cause injury to the public health, safety, morals, or general welfare of the community. The reduction in average floor area per unit will not create any safety hazards, block vision, or encroach on any property lines or recorded easements. The use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. Granting the proposed variance will not negatively impact the use or value of any adjacent property. The requested variance is entirely contained within the building and will only affect those that would choose to live there and rent a reduced floor area unit. The petitioners heard the concerns of this type of development of the property at a previous meeting and have adjusted their plans accordingly. The petitioners have reduced the total unit count from 360 to 324, reduced the number of buildings on the property, and increased the average floor area unit from 521 square feet to 650. The reductions in unit count have also allowed them to provide parking at a greater rate than required, infilling this currently vacant land that is already zoned for multifamily residential use will add value to the area and much-needed housing to the community. The strict application of the terms of this zoning ordinance will result in practical difficulty. This situation shall not be self-imposed nor be based on a perceived reduction of or restriction of economic gain. The petitioners have worked with staff and feedback from the board to come up with a new plan featuring only one variance request. If the variance is not granted, the additional efforts of the petitioner to create new plans will be negated and our community would receive no additional housing during a time of great need. The petitioners faced a practical difficulty in attempting to provide market rate housing with desirable amenities at an affordable rate. The reduced floor area will amount to higher end apartments and amenities with lower end cost.
Thank you. Any members have any questions? Anybody from the audience have any questions? If you do, step up to the mic and state your name and address.
Is this for or against or either, or doesn't matter?
Either.
Anybody?
Yeah.
Okay.
My name's Andy Miller, 4220 Brook Road. I just randomly, at work a couple weeks ago, stopped at a break table, had some 4 younger adults at it. I said, I just want to ask you a question. I said, if you had a chance to live in a brand new apartment, 650 square feet, or roughly an 800 square foot apartment that was older, but it was clean and nice, and it was roughly the same cost, where would you want to live? And they all said, the bigger place. I have more room for my stuff. Kokomo is full of hardworking blue-collar workers. Now, these nice, fancy, smaller apartments may work, Fishers, Carmel, something like that, where they spend a lot of time in the office. They just come home, sleep, wash their clothes, and back to work. These people going to come home after a 40-hour work week, maybe have some friends over, play some video games, something like that. Well, they're going to need a little more space to have their friends over. I understand it looks like we're going to get the apartment complex over. Wish it was housing. Life is what it is. But I really think that going the 150 square foot variance is too much. I think the code calls for 800 square foot over if I remember correctly.
Average.
Okay, I can see cutting at 50 square feet. Okay, you got to give it a little take. 150 square foot, I just don't think there's going to be a desire for it, or very limited desire for it. And what scares me, if it's not filled in, how do you fill it to get money out of it? That's what scares me. You stated it's not going to affect property value. Well, I'd like to have that in writing, because if something happens, I want something to fall back onto. You told me this wasn't going to affect my property value. I hope you're right. I do.
I know I'm right.
Well, okay, then there won't be any problem in officiating that. I just want to cover myself. But I really think if this is going to go forward, it needs to be closer to what the statute says of 800 square foot. Thank you.
I just would like to say something. I've done a lot of research on this in the last few weeks, and the main reason that every zone that we have has a minimum square footage for apartments, and even houses. The main reason that the ordinance was, that the 800 square foot was put in, it could have been 700, it could have been 600. Back in the day, we had a lot of, I'm not very politically correct, so I'll just say what I mean to say. We had a lot of slumlords that were coming into Kokomo and wanting to build smaller, cheaper apartments, and the city was afraid that that was going to start taking over the landscape. So that's why there was an average put into the ordinance. That was never intended to say that every apartment in Kokomo had to be 800 square feet at least. That was to keep some of the undesirables out of the community, building 200 and 300 and 400 square foot apartments. I'm a firm believer that the market will, if people don't want to live in a 550 square foot apartment, they won't rent there. But if I remember correctly, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think there was something said at the last meeting that you had a Plan B on some of those smaller apartments, that you could take out the wall and, did I remember that correctly?
We can make them.
You have to come up to the microphone, Bill, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, these are designed where the units, they're the same size units backed up to each other. Okay, you've got door in this one, door in this one. Then there's a wall where the doors open up to. And if there ever came a time when everyone's like, oh, we want the big apartments again, we can make an 1,100 square foot 2-bedroom. And then the 2-bedroom would be a 1,500 square foot 2-bedroom. So we could open it up right there and put a door in if that had to be. We'd have to, you'd have 2 kitchens, but you could actually have a door where they could actually have their own sides, whatever. But it could be done. And we've left that open with nothing running through the wall right there just in case we needed that. And like you said, there was, I've got a list here just of some owners that, there's 560 square foot 1-bedroom at Holly. There's 550 at Indigo. There's 416 square foot 1-bedroom. Pine Manor, 700 at Imperial. Carter West is 774 for a 2-1. We're not far off, and these are full. We talked to the managers, and they're full. They've got some people moving out if they're remodeling or, whatever, but yeah, I mean, they're buying them, they're remodeling them, and they're filling, and they have no worries about filling them. So, yeah, I feel the need, so, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hi, my name's John Hardy. I'm with Affordable Market Rate. I just wanted to comment on how we came up with the sizes in the units. The city of Kokomo had a housing study done, so we were provided that study. We utilized that internally with our management company looking at that. And also, the state of Indiana has kind of an over housing study on, what the state needs to keep driving it. So for the units and the sizing and stuff like that, we use the Kokomo City housing study, and then we use the study from the state of Indiana, put those two things together to kind of help guide us. And again, what we're trying to do is we're trying to create something that's clean, safe, and affordable for somebody that makes, between like $40,000 and $70,000. Not super duper fancy, but just something that's nice, clean, safe, and affordable. Okay?
Any members of the board?
My name is Min Kang, and I happen to speak Korean and English, and I'm a realtor.
You want
So,
to step closer to the mic?
so I have to work with Korean people in their apartments here. They ask me to find a suitable housing for them. So I was working on it since last year, and trying to fit people here. There's a third of people coming in from Korea, anywhere from 5 to a few hundreds people at the same time. They want to be in the same unit, same apartment complex. It's not happening here, because we have smaller apartments here and they are not happy with it. So EDC in the city asked me to bring people into Kokomo, because a lot of people moving to Westfield or Carmel, because there's no suitable housing here for them. So they asked me to do that, but I can't really bring in people without housing. So I met these people and look at their plans. I think that's a great plan, that a smaller unit, affordable price with a good amenity center. So I work with them on and off and giving them ideas and how to make it happen. And then it took longer and longer because they couldn't get a permit from you. So I'm kind of wanting to let you know that we need housing to bring into people here, make economy better, and then create more works and make city a better place to live. And I'm desperate because I know people coming in. It just started. And I cannot find any apartments here, so I had to move people to Westfield. They make it so easy. Apartment management here makes it harder, and I have to do all the utilities as well. So I told them, why don't we include all the utilities in the apartment? They said, oh, we can do that. I think that makes a lot better for people coming in here. So I want to let you know that we really need the housing here.
Thank you.
Questions?
You know, with the amenity center, you know, with gentlemen saying that, you know, people want to be able to have their friends over. Well, you can have some friends over. I don't know if you want to have 15 friends over, to, you know, crammed into an apartment, but, you know, the amenity center is made for this. It's made for bringing people, getting together, you know, soundproof room. You know, you can have that as a video game room. You can have, you know, we can make it suit the needs of what would work best for the community to be able to gather and have fun and do have people over. And, you know, it's going to be a community. And we did, you know, go back and forth with Samsung talking about it. And, you know, they were like, you know, if it's built well, run well, managed well, you know, we will send people there, and it has to be secure, they said. So we are planning on, I hate saying cameras everywhere, but, you know, surveillance, safety, you know, just that it'll all be secured entries into the hallways, you know, key fobs. It'll be a secure place to live. It will be nice. So, yeah, we've addressed concerns and listened to everybody, and we want to be able to fill those needs. So.
Thank you.
Good. Any questions? Any from you guys? Okay. All right. Thank you.
I just note from the city's standpoint, we've met with Mr. Drinkall as well, and we are, as Min alluded to, in need of workforce housing, which this sounds like it is specifically being tailored towards, while anybody can live there, it is tailored towards workforce housing, and that the reduction in size is, from the trends that we have reviewed, is trending towards smaller apartments with higher amenities. So nicer apartments, smaller place, with the common areas, right, the golf simulator, what have you, trending. So I just wanted to bring that to the attention of the board.
In researching some of the other apartments, you know, the older ones and the smaller sizes, you know, they're looking close to $1,000 for a small one bedroom, and that's comparable to what we're looking at. So we're not going crazy on price. That's what our whole thing is, keeping this thing affordable, and it works. Our model works in that aspect. I only think we're not charging. This is affordable workforce housing, like TJ said. So, that's all.
Thank you. Any questions, comments from any member of the board?
I'll just make one comment. One thing that's kind of turning me towards approving this is that this company, AMR, has invested $50 million, or they want to invest $50 million on this design, on what they've been describing to you. And I guess that's got to carry some weight, that they're willing to do that. And it's you know, the kind of an investment that I can't make, but And I don't know, very few people in Kokomo could probably make, but these guys can do it, and I think it'll be a good thing.
Any more comments or questions? Not, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passed.
Congratulations.
Next case, Mr. President, is case P18 SE 23, petition of Affordable Market Rate LLC, requesting special exception for section 3.19 for dwelling multifamily, 17 units or more, in order to build, and Bill is right, this is wrong, it should say 324 units. 360 was the original number that they brought before us, so 324 units. And again, this is north of 4600 Coulter Drive, next to Walnut Creek Apartments and east of Brook Road.
I move that we approve case number P18-SC-23 and adopt the findings of the petitioner and those of this board and make those findings part of the record.
Second.
Do any members have any ex parte communications on this?
Okay, take these off. I'll
State
fold
your
down.
name and address real quick.
My name is Jonathan Hardy. I live at 12472 Ostera Court. That's in Fishers, Indiana, 46037.
You would step forward.
Yes, sir. These are the petitioner's findings of fact. A, proposal will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. The approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community, as the proposed development will be constructed in a first-class manner and is consistent with the maximum density of 24 multifamily units per acre under section 3.20 of the ordinance. B, the requirements and development standards for the requested use as prescribed by this zoning ordinance will be met. The buildings meet the minimum requirements for front and side setback requirements on this zoning district. The M2 district is intended to be used for medium to large-scale multifamily residential purposes, i.e. apartment complexes, of medium to high density. The primary application of the M2 district is for new and existing development and imposes development standards intended to protect the quality of life of the tenants. The applicant has proposed a development plan including a dog park, tennis pickleball court, pool, and other amenity center consistent with the intent of an N2 district to include multiple primary structures per lot. Subject to the use variance is simultaneously requested by applicant as set forth on the proposed site plan. The proposed development is consistent with the applicable development standards and is intended to ensure the quality of life for future residents and neighbors. Then C, the granting of the exception will not subvert the general purposes served by this ordinance and will not permanently injure other property or uses in the same district and vicinity. By granting applicant's request for a special exception for multifamily housing in excess of 17 units, such use will not subvert the general purpose served by the ordinance nor injure other properties or uses in the same district and vicinity. The property is located in a predominantly residential area, and the permitted uses for an M2 district expressly contemplate multifamily residential dwellings. The quality of the development proposed by the applicant is consistent with the general purposes served by the ordinance and will in no manner injure other properties or uses within the same district or vicinity. Further, appropriate adjacent districts are expressly specified to include R1 through R5. And then D, the proposed use will be consistent with the character of the district therein, the spirit and intent of the zoning ordinance, and the Kokomo Comprehensive Plan. The County of Howard and the State of Indiana have experienced consistent growth over the last several decades. See Kokomo Comp Plan, page 6, 2020 U.S. Census. While the City of Kokomo has not experienced the same level of growth, the average income within the City of Kokomo and Howard County have not been consistent with nationwide inflation, says CID at page 8. And applicant seeks to develop high-quality yet affordable housing. In order to provide the quality of living intended for M2 multifamily developments, applicant believes that the higher density development allows for a more cost-effective project, allowing for potentially attractive rental rates within the City of Kokomo, which would provide a significant potential increase in population. Okay.
Staff findings for case P18 SE 23, proposal will not be injurious to public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. The proposed 324-unit market rate apartment development will not be injurious to public health, safety, morals, or general welfare of the community. The development will be built new from the ground up and will meet all fire and safety codes. The requirements and development standards for the requested use as prescribed by this zoning ordinance will be met. The buildings meet the minimum requirements for front and side setback requirements in the zoning district. The petitioner plans to meet all development standards other than the one that they're requesting a variance for. They're requesting a variance for a reduction in minimum floor area per unit. That is case PO2V24, which we just approved. This particular variance will only impact those who choose to live in the apartments. Setbacks will be met and a new road will be installed in order to give the lot street frontage and access. The granting of the exception will not subvert the general purposes served by this zoning ordinance and will not permanently injure other property or uses in the same district and vicinity. Granting this special exception will allow the petitioners to infill a portion of a large and currently vacant lot in a residential area. The addition of a new and modern 324-unit apartment complex with many up-to-date amenities would not negatively impact other properties or their uses. As there is already a substantial multifamily development to the south, this development will fit with the existing character of the area. The proposed use will be consistent with the character of the district therein, the spirit and intent of this zoning ordinance of the Kokomo Comprehensive Plan. The Kokomo Comprehensive Plan earmarks this area for low-density residential uses, but the area is also adjacent to an area planned for high-density residential use. The City of Kokomo zoning ordinance deems this type of development to be compatible with the surrounding zones.
Thank you. Any board members have any questions? Anybody from the public have any questions, comments? If not, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passed.
Congratulations.
The next case, Mr. President, is case PO7V24, petition of Ichabod Buffet and Grill, requesting a variance of 16 inches to section 4.241B, a sign height requirement in a C2 zone in the Regional Center Overlay District. This is at 1805 East Markland Avenue.
I move that we approve case number P07-V-24 and adopt the findings of the petitioner as those of this board and make those findings part of the record.
Second.
Does any members have any ex parte communications on this? Petitioner, you would come to the microphone, state your name and address.
你跟他说英文不好，我儿子帮我讲一下。
I will translate.
地址是在这个正在做事。
No, 你的名字跟地址。
OK，我的名字分寸啊。
分城 1803 E Markland Avenue. The approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. It is unlikely that allowing the proposed use will be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. The real estate is a strip mall surrounded by other business uses. The proposal use of signage will support the operation of a restaurant business and service for the community. Therefore, the proposed use should not have any negative impacts to the community. The use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected by the substantially adverse manner. It is unlikely the use and value of the adjacent property will be affected in a substantially adverse manners as the proposed use is abutting other business uses. The requested change pertains to signage for a restaurant which is confined to building frontage. Therefore, the proposed use should not have any negative impacts to the adjacent properties. The strict application of the term of this zoning ordinance will result in a practical difficulty. This situation shall not be self-imposed nor be based on a perceived reduction or restriction of economic gain. Strict application of the term of the zoning ordinance will result in a practical difficulty in the inability of the business not being able to fully utilize and operate a restaurant without proper signage.
Very well done.
Thank you.
You did good. Did great. You want to read mine? You do better than I do. Okay, staff findings for case P07V24. The approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. The approval of the variance will not be harmful to the public health or safety of the community. However, it may offend the morals of some for illegal installed signage to be allowed to stay when other businesses are required to follow rules. The use of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. Granting this variance to allow Ecobon larger signage than any other in the area would be unfair to the many businesses and restaurants and would be an aesthetic mismatch. While Chick-fil-A was recently granted a variance for signage, it was to allow additional signs, not larger letters. Their requested variance for sign height was denied. The strict application of terms of this zoning ordinance will result in a practical difficulty. This situation shall not be self-imposed, nor be based on a perceived reduction of or restriction of economic gain. If the variance is not granted, the petitioner will be required to take down the illegal sign and apply for an appropriately sized sign and permit to install a new sign at their cost. This situation is self-imposed as the petitioner did not reach out through proper channels that would advise him of the allowable letter height of 24 inches. There is no practical difficulty that requires this size of sign, as even the 19-inch letters on the sign are clearly visible from Reed Road. The petitioner is not being told they are not allowed to have a sign, simply that they are required to meet the 24-inch standard and receive a permit prior to installation. I just want to say that I'm a little, this is a tough one. I talked to the petitioners. I don't think anything was done maliciously. It just happened, but it was installed illegally. It's too big, so we need to figure out a way to resolve this.
And I believe in previous instances, similar variances have been consistently denied
Correct.
based upon
Correct.
a lot of hard work from the zoning office over the last
Correct.
almost 10 years to clean things up along 931. Okay.
那听得懂吗？
我听不懂。
然后那就跟他说听得不太懂，我没办法翻译成妈妈。
I don't understand, so I can't translate.
So, from the history of looking at variances like the one in front of us, they've usually been denied.
Oh.
And I think all of them have been denied in the past on the requested variance that you have in front of the board today.
他说，像这种东西里面，以前这个东西发生，它都被这样 cancel 了。
哦，那你跟他说这个是不是善意不能做这么大的？
对。
哦，那只能做比较小一点呢。
对，24 inch。
OK，你跟他说一下，只能做24英尺的，不能做太大的。
So we have to make the sign smaller?
Yes.
Well, the board has to vote first,
Oh.
and if it's denied, then that would be the outcome.
Oh.
So,
So 他说，他们是要升下 vote，就是说，每个
Council, I got two questions, and if I'm out of bounds, you can stop me at any time.
Okay.
But there's just questions that I've got. Was this sign professionally installed?
他说这个， 这个 sign，
Have a contractor put your sign on the building.
但是你有没有 sign 一个 contract 来把你这个
I don't need to know their name, I just know if you had a contractor.
？Yeah, I'm asking right now.
Okay, thank you.
他说你这个 sign 有没有就是像 sign 了什么 contract 把它放上去的？
哎呀，这个我不太清楚，因为是我另外一个人做的，哪个直接说没有吧？
你真的说真话啊？
有吧？我不太清楚了，
你不太清楚，那我说什么？
然后是有吧？
你真的要说真话？
那个有种，因为我婆婆呢，她也帮我们做这个的，她也去专门找人去做设计这个的。
I'm not sure, but she says she thinks so.
That a contractor put
Does
it
she
up?
know who installed the sign?
你知道谁把它装上去了吗？
我的合伙呢，他们呢，
Her partner.
Business partner?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it wasn't a sign provider. I think that's
There
what
was no
Mr.
contractor
Besser
involved, is what I'm
said. It was
trying to
not a
say.
sign provider.
I'm trying to get at how we got here, is what I'm
Yeah.
looking for.
I think that's a fair question.
Yeah.
他说谁说你没有 sign 你 contract 把它放上去？
Is there any way the present sign just be made smaller? I don't know how it's
然后
constructed.
让我们现在吧，因为这些东西是帮人帮人做的。那时候
这个我解释一下。
他就说 OK，那我们没有问题了，那我们回去会把它改。
是他们问我们啊，我们不能直接这样走的。
然后是他们怎么设计出来的？
哦，so her business partner found someone to install it for her.
Okay. But we don't know who that person was. We
Just in-
don't know who that contractor was, or,
是说你不知道谁帮你装上去的。
对，不知道。
We don't know.
okay. And the reason we ask is, normally, if you have a sign provider or a contractor put it up, they know that they need to get permits. And that's why we're asking if it was put up by a provider or just a business partner or whatever. Yeah, so that's what Mr. Besser's trying to decide. If it was put up by a sign provider, they should have known to get a permit. And I don't think you all did. Like I said, I don't think this was done maliciously. But when it was put up without a permit, it's a problem, and we have to try to find out a way to get it resolved. And without putting a lot of due hardship on the business owner as much as we possibly can.
他说你把这个东西放上去的时候，因为如果你们有找人把它放上去的话，他们会拿了一个 permit 来把它放上去，所以他们应该会知道他们需要把这个 sign 弄小一点。
好的，那我们知道了，那我们会把它改一下吧。
Folks, if you would, I think we have a question here from the person behind you.
Judy Price, if you grant a variance because somebody besides their sign contractor didn't put it up, doesn't that give Chick-fil-A permission to have their contractor put their sign on their building and say, you let somebody else do it?
I wasn't asking a question to say that I was gonna vote yes for a variance. I think it's terrible that we're in this situation where you've got somebody trying to start a business, and if they contacted a contractor and he put that sign on there without telling them that they need to permit, it needs to be known who that person is, period.
I agree with you, and it should be up to the contractor to change the sign at his or her expense.
We would agree with that. That's why
I
we're trying to
think,
find out.
I think we need to be very careful, and we're not gonna get into whether there's any liability on the fault of the contractor, because that would be giving legal advice, which we're not gonna do.
I'm just saying, if you give a variance for them, then Chick-fil-A's gonna come back and say,
Wait a minute. Chick-fil-A's already gone through the process. Chick-fil-A knows what they can and can't do. If they go above the variances that were given last month, we would make them take it down. We would make them fix that. They've already been told what they can do, and they know, okay?
But if it's an ordinance, it's an ordinance, and everybody goes by it.
That's why you have variances, ma'am. That's why you have this board.
Sheila off 1201 Belvedere Drive. Ichiban, next door to me, their buffet and grill, their signs, the size of it is probably accurate. Ichiban itself is larger. The whole, what is ICHIBAN, it's larger, but the buffet and grill, it's smaller size. I think theirs is correct on that one, but Ichiban, there's two high.
That's where the problem is.
Yeah, but, I live right next door, so I see everything that goes on in that whole area. I'm gonna sell it, yeah, no matter what. Okay. I'm not gonna tattle on them and stuff, because do they have a contractor? No. They put their own letters up themselves. I saw them climb up on the ladder and put them up themselves. But, you know, I'm not against
Right.
that restaurant. They've never caused anything there when BW Thieves was there and Hibachi there and American Spring Buffet, and now it's Ichiban. Ichi's is same company, whatever. But I'm not against everything. But what I am concerned about, one thing, and of course I always get a certified mail because I'm right next door to them. Always, always, always. Their address, 1803 East Markland, and it says here in this paper, 1805 East Markland. The Barrens and all that stuff. Now, here's the question I'm going to ask the city. How come they can be East Markland, 1803, and it says 1805, and Hobby Lobby's 1805 East Markland, and you've got the Beauty Academy and theirs is 01, Hobby Lobby's 01, the Beauty Academy is South Reed Road 02, Armed Forces is South Reed Road 02, and Staples is Markland, East Markland 02, which that would be correct because Markland is right there. Well 1 is South Reed Road 02, and White Castles is 02. Now, how in the world can you tell me and explain to me how Ichiban and Hobby Lobby is East Markland 01? I don't understand the whole city anymore. I know where I live, it's 02.
Well, number one, that whole area out there in that complex.
What?
The addressing is all.
Seacrest? Cedar Crest?
No. Hobby Lobby, what we're talking, I'm not talking about Cedar Crest.
Okay, well, I'm right there in Cedar Crest,
I
okay,
understand,
okay.
But I can't, all I'm saying is, if you look up that on Beacon, it pulls up, I think it pulls up as 1805 for that whole complex, if I remember right.
It does.
Was it because Kmart was there way back when,
I
or?
understand, but number one, this board doesn't deal with addresses.
Okay, but I'm just gonna say
But my
what,
office is already looking at that, because we realize that the addresses out there are an issue. We're already looking into that.
okay, January 29th, 1954, it tells us right here, the 1805 and 1803. So, you put it in the paper, City of Kokomo put it in the paper, Kokomo Tribune put it in February.
Okay?
So now you can't have this read in the Kokomo Tribune and then everything else is different. Okay, they're looking into it. Okay, so fine. But I get this, you know why I get it. Yes, but I'm not against, I wasn't against Chick-fil-A either. Not really. But, I'm invited next week again for another one, for Chick-fil-A.
Actually, they will not be heard next week.
Well, you better send me a certified mail again.
I'm gonna send you a certified mail, that's why I'm telling you right now.
I have to tell everybody in my neighborhood that we're not gonna be there on the 12th.
They got continued until the April meeting.
April, you don't know when?
Can you find that real quick, please?
It's gonna be the second Tuesday in April.
Second Tuesday in April, 5 o'clock, City Hall.
Same time, same place, same bat channel.
Okay, your mayor, what he put in the lantern was terrible. And what he,
We're not talking about that. We're not-
well, that was a Chick-fil-A, and also open Imperial and not widen it.
We're not talking about that.
I know, but I'm gonna
We're
make a comment
talking about
now.
these folks that signed.
Okay,
That's
them
all we're
people,
talking
okay,
about.
okay, all right, I'll stay with them, okay. I'm not against them at all, but I know about their variances, signs and stuff, what you asked before, so, another company, so, okay. But their buffet and grill is actually the right size, I really think.
No, I don't disagree. It's the Ichabod that is
Yep.
actually, yeah.
It's
yeah.
too high.
If it was all that size, we wouldn't even be here. If it
Well,
was-
okay,
If it was
but-
all the buffet and grill size, we wouldn't even be here.
Okay, all right, okay.
Yeah, that's the issue. And
And-
the fact that they put it up without a permit.
Well,
That's the other issue.
that's between you and your conscience.
That's between my office and this board.
Well, okay.
In reality, because you're not supposed to put anything up without a permit. And so that's why we're here.
Was Hobby Lobby sign too large too?
Hobby Lobby. Why are we talking about Hobby Lobby?
Well, they're next door to him.
That's got nothing to do with this.
We're just talking about Ichiban. Okay, I got it. I understand.
Okay.
Stay on this focus. Okay. That's all. I was
Okay.
trying to do the address is correct. 1803, 1805 East Markland. Everybody else is South Reed Road? Seriously?
We'll figure that out. We're working on that. We're working.
Nobody knows where anybody lives, do they?
Well, evidently, everybody knows what we're talking about tonight because you're all here.
Well,
So-
not everybody, but, I mean,
I'm
yeah.
just saying.
And I know my-
We know there's a problem there. We're gonna.
I
we're
know
working
my
on it.
zip is 02 because I'm on the south side of Markland. And I thought that's the way the division was.
The drive is attached to Markland on D, which is where the address comes from, because the whole Hobby Lobby, the beauty.
Beauty Academy, Armed Forces,
It's all attached, so.
Right.
They have different mailing addresses probably, or suite numbers, one of the two.
Well-
But it's all one parcel.
two can't be East Markland, the other would be South Reed Road. And two can't be 01 and the other is 02. Now, unless I'm really that old and I'm got dementia, I really don't know what the hell's going on anymore with the city. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Any members of the board have any more questions? If not, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of passing the variance for Ichabod signify by saying aye. Those opposed?
Nay.
Nay. Motion is denied.
We will get with the petitioners and figure out how to get this resolved, if that's,
I think looking at that, one is 40 inches, the other is 19. There's probably a way to meet
I think there
24
is.
inches
Yeah,
with
yeah.
half the sign without exponential cost, but.
yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
probably fair, yeah. So we'll reach out. We'll reach out, we'll get it all figured out. We'll reach out to you, okay? All right? Okay, thank you.
All right. Next case.
The next case is case P08V24, petition of Bill Terry on behalf of Chipotle, requested a variance of 60 foot and a variance of 9 foot to section 4.17, maximum front yard setback, and a variance to 4.23BA, drive-through in order to have a drive-through frontage street, and variance of 46% to section 6.48, parking in a C2 zone within the community center overlay. This is at 4005 South Lafayette Street.
Thank you. Do I have a motion and a second?
I move that we approve case number P08-V-24 and adopt the findings of the petitioner and those of this board and make those findings part of the record.
Second.
Thank you. Has any members had any ex parte communications on this case? Petitioner, microphone, if you state your name and address, please.
Bill Terry, Y Engineers, 10505 or 10505 North College Avenue, Indianapolis, Indiana, 46280. Petitioner's finding of facts. One, the approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, or general welfare of the community. We don't think that there is no direct access to either roadway, so cross-access with Lowe's will be the provided. We don't think there will be any safety hazards there. The use and value of the area adjacent to the property included, the variance will not affect the substantial adverse manner. It does not appear that the use or value of the adjacent properties will be adversely affected. We're pretty much surrounded by commercial and the existing Lowe's in the parking lot. The strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance will result in practical difficulty. The strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance will not allow the Chipotle to be actually built with the restrictions of the ordinance that are set forth. So that's why we're here with further variances.
Mr. Sheehan.
Staff findings for case P08 V24. Approval will not be injurious to public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. Requested variances for larger front yards, a drive-through facing the street, and parking places will not negatively impact the public health, safety, morals, or general welfare of the community. The drive-through and parking placements were chosen to serve public safety and general welfare by not having pedestrians crossing a busy drive-through. The use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. Granting the requested variance will allow the petitioner to build a new restaurant that will be similar aesthetically to other drive-through restaurants in the area that are located on corner lots. The strict application of the terms of this zoning ordinance will result in a practical difficulty. This situation shall not be self-imposed nor be based on a perceived reduction of or restriction of economic gain. As the petitioner's lot is a corner lot, they face a practical difficulty. This creates two street frontages, which means two maximum setbacks, as well as a reduction in area that the drive-through and parking may be placed. As such, the staff supports granting the requested variances.
Any board members have any questions? Is all the entrance and exits gonna be through Lowe's parking lot?
Yes, sir. Yeah, there'll be an ECCR done, which is for covenants restrictions. So there'll be an easement going from the property to Alto and from an easement going down to La Fountain. There'll be an access easement with Lowe's. Same way as stormwater as well. Yeah, we asked for right in, right out off of La Fountain, and Greg and John denied that pretty quick in the very beginning.
You're gonna have an entrance off of Alto Road?
No.
No?
It's just the two existing Lowe's curb cuts.
Just, okay.
Yeah, this would be Eclipse, they have the exclusive right with Lowe's. This will be our 10th one we've done. So we're in Vegas, Redmond, Oregon, Elizabeth City, North Carolina. We've done one in Goshen. So he's got the exclusive rights for Chipotle with Lowe's.
Any board members have any other questions for this petitioner? Now we have a motion and a second.
Did you ask for
Oh.
public comment? I'm sorry.
Anybody in the public have a comment? If not, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passed.
Thank you. So the next case is case P09 V24, petition of Boyer Restaurant Group LLC, requesting a variance of 90 square feet to section 3.22 minimum floor area per unit, and a variance of 56 parking spaces or 13% to section 6.46 multifamily. This is at the northwest corner of South Berkeley Road and West Boulevard.
May I speak?
Yes, sir.
My name is Birch Dalton. I'm with Westfield, Indiana. I represent the Boyer family and co-development.
If you would, I believe we need a motion and a second.
I'm sorry.
I move that we approve case number P09-B-24 and adopt the findings of the petitioner and those of this board and for the findings part of the record. Sorry.
Second.
Thank you.
Sorry, now you can speak. That was.
Now you can speak.
So what just happened? You already approved the ordinance or what?
No,
Oh,
just got a motion for it.
okay. I just want to, well, I don't
Got
want
ahead of myself.
Okay. Well, again, my name is Birch Dalton, and I want to bring up a few facts that I don't need to go into the same rabbit hole the first group talked about on the square footage. But as far as an investment in the community, we look at this property as a balance to what we're doing out at Delco Park redevelopment. And this is what I call realistic rents. You know, people throw around the term affordable all the time. Well, you know, we need to balance the rents. If you look at your rent study, you have a need, you have a curve, and this fills a certain middle of the road curve. And so the square footage is, we have 832 square feet in our 2 bedrooms, and as we're proposing at 520. Our first bids came in last week, and here's the difference between us and a lot of other people. We already own the ground, and if you look at the site plan, we already have drainage, so we're way ahead of coming to the market with these. Our architect's here, and he can speak to it, but we could get the construction documents pretty quick. We've already had bids on this, so we're looking to invest a little over $36 million for 216 units. So, you know, the cost of poker in an apartment game is around 160 to 200,000 a unit. That's just the way it is now. You know, we've been set, you city leaders, which I thank you for being city leaders. There's 2 things that make your job difficult: these high interest rates and inflation. Well, that's impacted what you and I can deliver to the market for reasonable rents. So this project, I believe, has reasonable rents. So we're requesting a variance on the square footage by only 90 feet, if you look at the 2. And on parking, as it's drawn now, we're right at about 376 for the 216 units. Well, if you look at the bed count, which is how we look at it a lot of times, we only have 348 beds. So if you put a car to a bed, you know, we're below the 376 spaces. We believe this area is a very good use for it. You know, I'm not going to repeat all the staff report you saw that they felt it was also. I know this area. I grew up in this town, and you know, this piece of ground here next to the Boulevard School and the high school, I think it provides very, very good opportunities for that single parent and, you know, 1 or 2 children, and or a retired person that doesn't want a lot of room and a more affordable rent, if you would, or realistic. So I think the project kind of stands on its own. We're ready to come to market pretty quick, and so we're asking for those 2 variances. So any questions I can answer, happy to do so.
Any member of the board have any questions?
The parking spaces you got, they're 180 square feet.
Correct.
And I looked on there, are you showing it, I do not see, it might be there, are you allowing for any handicap parking?
Well, I don't know if we drew it on there, but we'd have to comply with ADA.
My next question is, to the Director, we're looking at 2 different formulas, if you will, of what would be acceptable. I don't have a problem giving a variance. I don't want to sit there and give a variance, and in 30 days, we have a formula, and the variance we give would be below the formula. You understand what I'm saying here? I don't want to start out right off the get-go of having a new formula for parking, and this be less.
You mean this would be grandfathered, or
If we're gonna play,
if we're gonna change the,
Theoretically, if the city wouldn't think about this, I'd vote no right off the get-go. Because I'm the parking guy that I just vote no on it. The city's looking at something and it's reasonable, so that's my question. If they're right at the line right now, unless if they've, you know, sample B is 376.8 for the city, that's with handicap parking. Plan B is less than that, which would cover it.
I understand.
Yeah, I'm just-
Less than 2 spaces per, is that what you're trying at?
No, this is 1.77 is what this
Correct.
comes out
It's like
to.
1.7, yeah.
I don't have a problem giving, in a month, if the planning commission adopts new numbers of what we're gonna go through. And in this instance, for the numbers that they're either gonna go with, 376.8, which we're gonna round up, 377, or they're gonna go with a lower number. I don't know what they're gonna go with. If we would give them a variance that would come with a total spaces of less than 377 places, we've already made an exception to the change that we're getting ready to make, and I don't want us to do that.
I think that the change that we're looking at, and we haven't made any concrete decisions for sure yet.
No.
The changes we've been looking at, I think they're right in line with what they are suggesting. But we haven't made a definite, yes, this is what we're going to.
We've got a list
I know
of
what I
ordinance
want, but what I want
changes
doesn't
that we're gonna
always.
be
I'm not trying to be argumentative.
No, I know.
I just want a clarification.
I understand what you're saying.
okay?
I think there's a reasonably high chance that this would be at or above the,
I would agree.
the zoning ordinance changes that we're looking at. Is that fair?
I would agree.
I was a little confused. The question was asked Mr. Dalton at the planning commission meeting, did he foresee any variances? And he let us believe that there wasn't gonna be any, but he was willing to work to get the place built. I'm not trying, I've already stated what I'm trying to say. I don't want us to give a variance and then it'd be less than what we're trying to go to. I don't think it's fair to this petitioner to be held to the old standards if we're in transition of getting a new standard. So we're definitely moving away from the two.
Correct.
We're definitely moving away from that.
Correct.
That's my.
And
that's my
it's not
question.
getting higher. It's certainly.
Yeah, no, it's not getting higher.
Not getting higher. Yeah.
Any other board members have any questions? Does anybody from the public have a comment?
This here, Sheila, yeah. You guys know, Sheila Off, 1201 Belvedere Drive. Does the corner of what Boer Restaurant Group and also they're talking about Berkeley and Boulevard. You know, you got a school right across the street on Boulevard, right there in Berkeley. I know it will be further down on Berkeley, but is this going to have any effect with the Boulevard Elementary School right there? I mean, that's my question with the schools and the school buses and all that traffic there too. I was thinking about this when he was giving the directions, the
I
addresses.
guess I don't understand. What do you mean by effect? What kind of effect?
Well, you've got a school right there at the corner of Boulevard and Berkeley.
Yeah.
So, kids go outside and play a lot, so if you're gonna have a restaurant and whatever you said, and apartments,
Yeah, but there's already residential all around that whole area. So,
right? No. Yes, across the street, that is true, on the south side, the east side, that is true. That is true. But you got a restaurant and what you're saying, and apartments. Well, okay, I'm just concerned about the kids at school, elementary kids. They're out there playing in their playground, right there on Boulevard. I'm just questioning kids for their safety, because everything else is terrible on safety anymore.
It'd be no
The
different,
higher
ma'am.
traffic coming through.
Well, yes, you gotta worry about that, traffic and school buses getting in and out. Yes, I'm concerned about that too.
keep in mind, let's get back on track here. What we're looking at tonight are two variances for the parking and the minimum floor area per unit.
That's it.
When we're talking about traffic and things, those are all things that can be talked about during site plan approval, which will be next Tuesday night.
Okay.
We'll be more than
Okay.
happy to talk about that then.
Well,
Okay.
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 Can I say something, because I forgot to say it a while ago?
Sure.
And I don't know who takes care of the lights in the parking lot. Hobby Lobby's parking lot, or the parking lot there. I don't know who takes care of those lights up there all the time? I don't know, but there's two big lights out there that flash on and off all night long. And, yeah, I thought maybe somebody was out there in the parking lot just getting their lights on and off, but no, it comes right into my back bedroom. I'm telling you, somebody needs to take care of those lights.
I'm assuming that's their responsibility.
Whose?
Hobby Lobby. It's their, they own that whole complex.
So it's their lights they gotta be responsible for to take care of? So I have to go over and tell them about their lights at
If they own
nighttime?
the lights, it's their responsibility to take care of them. Yes, nobody
Well,
else is gonna-
nobody works there after 8 o'clock.
Huh?
Nobody works there after 8 o'clock at
If they own the
nighttime.
lights, If it's there, nobody else is gonna take care of that for them.
So I gotta go talk to Megan or Dave and tell them, get with and get your lights taken care of because they're waking me up every night.
That would probably be the best bet. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Do I have any other questions on P09V-24? If not, we have a motion and a second.
Did we read our findings? I don't believe we did. did we?
Oh, you didn't read yours?
I don't think anybody read them yet. They both need to be read.
Mark, I have your petitioner's findings. Are you-
What? Birch will read it. I just want to clarify, there's not going to be no restaurant there.
We need,
No, we don't.
we need name and address, but.
Yeah.
Mark Moore.
Thank you.
We haven't gone to the,
Yeah, we haven't done any findings.
it's been so long.
I know.
Okay. Petitioner?
Hello, my name's Steve Alexander at 850 South Meridian, Indianapolis, Indiana. And I'd like to present the findings of fact.
Okay.
The proposal will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community, as the proposed apartments will be built to modern code and appropriately maintained. The proposed use will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, or general welfare of the community. The development will be built new from the ground up and will have its own parking, plus a clubhouse building and leasing building, in addition to 7 residential buildings, including site amenities like pickleball courts and a dog park and other amenities. The requirements, item B, the requirements and development standards for the requested uses prescribed by the zoning ordinance will be met. The buildings meet the minimum requirements for front and side setback requirements of the zoning district. The petitioners are requesting 2 variances, one for minimum floor area per unit and one for parking ratios. The petitioner has committed to meeting all other development standards, including setbacks, landscaping, lighting, etc. Item C, the granting of the exception will not subvert the general purposes served by the zoning ordinance and will not permanently injure other property or uses in the same district and vicinity. Infilling this currently vacant lot with a new and needed apartment development will improve the value of property. These apartments will not negatively impact the neighboring businesses. Yes,
I have to stop you.
am I reading the wrong one?
You're reading the wrong one.
No.
I was trying to hand this to Mark. These are the petitioner's findings.
Sorry.
I tried to hand them to Mark. Oh, I'm sorry. That's what you, and this is for the next case, so might as well take it.
I apologize for the confusion.
Well, you're doing such a good job, we're just gonna let you continue.
That's my radio voice, so. Okay, thank you. Let me restart here. In regard to, shall I read the parcel number and all of that? Petitioner's finding of fact, item 1, the approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. The dwelling units of the entire apartment complex are being constructed to contemporary building code and are tying into all public utilities. The units will be heated and cooled and have wide open spaces, sufficient parking, and will be maintained by a prominent property management company. By providing housing such as we are proposing in this project, although somewhat smaller in size and a different mix of apartment configurations, provides a safer and cleaner housing product than may be provided at a less accommodating housing options, let's jump the line there, housing options to the demographic of workers who are coming to the Kokomo workforce. Therefore, the provision of slightly smaller dwelling unit sizes does not compromise the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. As the evolution of various types of transportation, including ride-sharing electric vehicles, motorcycles, scooters, and bikes in personal transportation takes hold in Kokomo, as well as the City Line trolley, the demand for one car per person type of thinking that is baked into zoning ordinances starting to fall away. As more people from around the world who are used to other forms of transportation become integrated into the Kokomo population, we will see more of these alternatives to commuting and transportation become more widely accepted. The direct impact is less demand on surface parking lots in Kokomo, and in this project specifically. This in turn has a positive impact on public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community by reducing pollution, reducing fuel consumption, reducing wear and tear on the roads, and hopefully lower taxes because of that. Item number 2. The use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. The use and value of the adjoining areas to the site are largely commercial and educational properties and industrial developments. This project will provide additional consumers to the numerous retail facilities and employers of the adjoining industrial and commercial facilities. The units and property will be maintained in such a way to provide a high quality of environment for the renters we will be attracting. By allowing a lower parking ratio and encouraging ride-sharing and multi-person transportation system, the reduced demand for parking in this project will increase the benefits to adjoining landowners of commercial business ventures. This does not negatively affect the area adjacent, but makes it more of a walkable community and increases the durability and value and not create any practical difficulty. Encouraging lower utilization of single-person vehicle transportation will only encourage positive impact and practical benefits to adjoining properties and to the city of Kokomo.
There was one more page that I got. Yes, sorry, it was stuck.
And item number 3, the strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance will result in practical difficulty. This situation shall not be self-imposed nor be based on a perceived reduction or a restriction of economic gain. To that, the strict application of the zoning ordinance does not take into consideration studio apartments or one-bedroom apartments that might range in size from as small as 350 square feet for a studio and up to 500 feet for one-bedroom apartments that may range in size from 450 to 600 square feet. The ordinance calls for a minimum of 800 square feet, which does not accommodate or anticipate the development of studio apartments or one-bedroom apartments. Therefore, the strict application of the zoning ordinance will cause unduly harsh demands on the types of apartments that can be built for this community. The strict application of the zoning ordinance in this case of parking space per unit creates the practical difficulty of accommodating that many vehicles on a project of this size. Since modern residents of apartment complexes are more likely to have fewer cars than people living in single-family detached homes, the burden of providing 2 car spaces for even studio apartments and one-bedroom units creates a massive consumption of land and dramatically increases the impact of stormwater storage. Therefore, the practical difficulty of accommodating that is insurmountable for this project.
Thank you. You're welcome. Mr. Sheeline.
In staff findings for case P09V24, approval will not be injurious to public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. The requested variances for reduced floor area per unit, and reduced parking will not be injurious to the health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. The variances will not allow the petitioner to block vision or encroach on any property lines. While the petitioner will be placing parking in an easement, they will do so following Duke Energy's rules. The use and value of the area adjacent to the property, including the variance, will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. Infilling this currently vacant and underutilized piece of land with a new and modern apartment development would improve the value of the property and the area in general. Additional multifamily housing would fit in seamlessly with the already mixed-use areas featuring businesses, restaurants, and single-family homes. The petitioner plans to meet all the development standards, including setbacks, landscaping, and lighting. The variance requested will only impact those who make the choice to live in the development. The strict application of the terms of this zoning ordinance will result in a practical difficulty. This situation shall not be self-imposed nor be based on perceived reduction of or restriction of economic gain. The petitioner faces a practical difficulty in attempting to provide new modern housing for the city while keeping the project feasible. The petitioner plans to build small, tidy apartments to satisfy the city's growing housing needs. Larger apartment means larger costs for tenants, with many people feeling the financial squeeze in recent years. The smaller apartment size also make it reasonable to believe that a number of the one-bedroom apartments will only have one inhabitant and one car associated with them rather than two. The staff supports granting the requested variances.
Thank you. Any board members have a question?
Greg, on your number one, this statement about Duke Energy, do they have an agreement that they can do that, or to explain this to me? I don't understand.
Yes, sir. We sent the plans to Duke Energy, and they advised us that the complete civil engineering drawings need to be submitted so they can verify the grades and heights of curbs and so forth. And we agree to comply with all of their requirements of those heights and elevations. So it goes without saying, we are going to comply with their.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. If I understand this right, you're gonna have, your map shows that you're having two entrances into the parking lot?
Yes, sir.
One off Boulevard and one off Berkeley?
Yes, sir. We felt that kind of anticipating fire department likes to have two entrances to a project of this size, so we felt it most appropriate.
Okay. You're leaving the pond there as?
Yes, actually, the pond was engineered for the stormwater storage for that entire parcel. So it's a shared stormwater solution for that entire parcel.
Will it be enclosed anyway, or it's gonna be open?
Well, our plan is to landscape around it and make it an amenity for the community. I don't know if Mark's planning on stocking it again. Is there already fish in there? It's already been stocked.
Anybody in public have a comment?
Question. Lee Oliver, 5768 West, 00 North South. You were talking about the parking coming in off of Berkeley. How near the intersection is that, or is it off the intersection? It appears to be.
Yeah,
Appears to be right there.
This is the intersection down here. This is Berkeley. That's
Berkeley. Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay,
it's
so it'll
actually
be-
about 400 feet away
Okay, so
from the
okay,
intersection.
I had it turned around. So
That's okay.
Okay. I was just thinking, too close to that intersection would be.
Yeah,
Not
that's
good.
exactly why we pushed them as far away as we could.
Anybody else in the audience have a comment, question? Any board members, comments, questions? If not, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passed.
All right, the last case tonight, Mr. President, is case PO2 SE 24, petition of Boyer Restaurant Group LLC requesting special exception for section 3.21 for dwelling multifamily, 50 units or more, in order to construct 216-unit apartment in a M3 zone. Again, this is the northwest corner of South Berkeley Road and West Boulevard.
I move that we approve case number P02-SC-24 and adopt the findings of the petitioner as those of this board and make those findings part of the record, please.
Second.
Thank you. Any members have any expertise communications on this? You would? Please state your name and address.
Sure, my name's Steve Alexander, and I'll give you another address to kind of put everything in perspective. I'm going to claim 4924 Kickapoo Drive. I grew up in Indian Heights and moved away in the 60s, so I have very fond memories. In regard to petitioner's findings of fact, A, the proposal will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. That is, in light of the fact that this site is comprised of 13.6 acres of developable land, this section of the code that limits the amount of apartments to 50 dwelling units without a special exception being granted is necessary to be approved therein to allow the development of 216 dwelling units. The benefits of a professionally managed apartment complex that is built to the last building standards and financial requirements will ensure that the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community will be improved and not injured. Item B, the requirements and development standards of the requested use as prescribed by this zoning ordinance will be met. The buildings meet the minimum requirements for front and side setback requirements on the zoning district, on this zoning district. To that, the developer is hereby committing that all of the other requirements and development standards of the zoning ordinance will be met. Item C, the granting of the exception will not subvert the general purposes served by this zoning ordinance and will not permanently injure other property or uses in the same district and vicinity. To that, the development of this apartment complex as proposed by the developer is intended to fully comply with all other aspects of the zoning ordinance and will be significantly enhance the property and uses in this district by increasing the rental values and quality of construction that is brought to the neighborhood. Item D, the proposed use will be consistent with the character of the district therein, the spirit and intent of the zoning ordinance, and the Kokomo Comprehensive Plan. This particular corner of the western Kokomo neighborhood has a mix of light retail, institutional, and industrial uses across the street from a major education campus. The unique mix of these varieties of land uses is very well supported by the introduction of apartment complex of this size by bringing more consumers and users to the area in a high-quality residential community. The spirit and intent of the zoning ordinance and the comprehensive plan is met herein. Thank you.
Mr. Freeland.
Staff findings for case P02-SE24. Proposal will not be injurious to public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community, as the proposed apartments will be built to modern code and appropriately maintained. The proposed use will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, or general welfare of the community. The development will be built new from the ground up and will have its own parking, plus a clubhouse building, a leasing building, in addition to 7 residential buildings, pickleball courts, and a dog park. The requirement and development standards for the requested use as prescribed by this zoning ordinance will be met. The buildings meet the minimum requirements for front and side setback requirements in the zoning district. The petitioners are requesting 2 variances, one for minimum floor area per unit and one for parking. Petitioner has committed to meeting all other development standards, including setbacks, landscaping, lighting, etc. The granting of the variance will not subvert the general purposes served by this zoning ordinance, will not permanently injure other property or uses in the same district and vicinity. Infilling this currently vacant lot with a new and needed apartment development will improve the value of the property. These apartments will not negatively impact the neighboring businesses, institutional uses, or residences nearby that will add to the mixed-use character of the area. Proposed use will be consistent with the character of the district therein, the spirit and intent of this zoning ordinance and the Kokomo Comprehensive Plan. The City of Kokomo Comprehensive Plan earmarks this area for general commercial uses. However, with mixed-use developments becoming more prevalent, the addition of multifamily housing to a commercial area would not be detrimental to either type of development and would be consistent with the spirit of the area and the intent of the zoning ordinance.
Yeah. Any of the board members have any questions? Anybody from the audience have a question, comment? There's no further questions or comments. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening.
I have no other business.
You have
Mr.
no other
President.
business?
Nope, I have no other business.
We need a motion and a second.
Move to adjourn?
Second.
Oh,
Sherry Huff, 1416 Imperial Drive. I was under the understanding tonight that we were going to talk about Imperial Drive. Can you tell me when that will be discussed?
I just said at the beginning of the meeting, that was never going to be discussed in this meeting tonight. This is, Imperial Drive would be in the development plan, which was supposed to have been next Tuesday night, but it got continued until the April meeting. So that will not
Okay.
be discussed till April.
Okay, second Tuesday of April,
Yes,
right?
ma'am. 5 o'clock here.
All right, thank you.
You're very welcome.
all right. Now, we have a motion.
Motion to adjourn?
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? This meeting is adjourned.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for coming.